Hello everyone and welcome to our channel Computorial. Today in this video series we are going to discuss about some tags of HTML. So without any further ado, let's get started. So today in this video we will be discussing about two tags of HTML, or basically two elements of HTML, that will be font, and then we have some physical and logical tags. So let's see what tags we have to discuss. But before that, if you haven't subscribed our channel yet, then you can just simply hit the subscribe button down and also press the bell icon so that you can get all the notifications and all the updates regarding our videos. And you can also follow us on Facebook for latest updates, and you can also contact us from the Facebook, and we will try our best to communicate with you as soon as possible. So today we have to discuss about these few things. First, I will show you how the font tag works and what are the different attributes and elements that we use with the font tag. Along with that, next we have to discuss about some physical and some logical markup tags. In these physical and logical markup tags, we'll be discussing about the subscript element, superscript element, then some tags like big and small. Then I will show you different type of typing text tags, and then we have to discuss about bold, italic and underline also. Along with that, we'll also discuss about some more interesting tags, some other elements, and at the end I will show you how you can use some special characters or some keywords that we don't have in our keyboard in our HTML programs. So now let's move to our first slide, that is font tag. Basically, whenever we are working with our HTML programs, the basic necessity is to make our program attractive or better in presentation. And for this approach, many a times we use different font formats. Many times we use some font styles. Many times we just want to write our text in a different type of font color. And sometimes we want to increase or decrease or do some arrangements with our font size. And for doing all these modifications with our font, or for applying all these properties in our font, we can use the font tag of HTML. Fine. Now, this font tag has three attributes here. These three attributes are color, size, and type. Well, by using these three attributes, we can easily modify various properties of font tag. So now I'll show you all the attributes and how we can use them. So here we have these attributes, that is size. This size attribute will help you to increase or decrease your font size. It means with this font size attribute, you can easily modify or manage the size of your text. Well, by default, the font has a size of either 3 or 4 depending on your web browser. But we can also increase or decrease the font size by using the size attribute of font tag. Now, let's suppose you were using a font tag and inside that you also just want to make some modifications by increasing the font size by just a few points. Then for that, instead of using the font size with a constant value, we can use font size with plus and minus numbers. I will show you this afterwards. Then next we have an attribute called face attribute. Well, this face attribute generally used to change the font type and font effects. For example, normally when we type something, we get our text either in Times New Roman, Calibri Body, or Arial. Similarly, our web browser also follows a definite font scheme. And to change that font scheme of our web browser, we can use this face attribute in our HTML programs. This face attribute generally helps us to change the font of our HTML. It means by using this face attribute, you can use any font as per your wish in your program. It means you don't have to stick with the default fonts of your web browser. Now, at last, now we have this most important element called color. Just keep one thing in the mind. Here we have to use this spelling as C-O-L-O-R, not as C-O-L-O-U-R. Fine. I hope you know the reason why. Well, many a times when we are writing our text, we also want to change our font color. For example, while I was creating this PPT, I have changed the font color of this heading to blue. And similarly, I have changed the font color of this text to gray. Similarly, inside this table, I'm using the font color of this, like these elements, as white. In the same manner, when you will work with your HTML programs, maybe you also want to change your font colors. And for this purpose, we can use the color attribute of font tag. We can use this color attribute in two possible ways. First, we can directly write a color value. This color value is basically a hex code. This color value is basically a hex code. Now I have a question that you guys can answer me in the comment box. My question is, what is a hex code? My question is, what is a hex code? I hope you guys will quickly search this thing and you can answer me. And if you feel any difficulty with this term, you can comment down and I will try my best to cover this topic in the next class now. Well, along with these hex codes, we can also use some color names. We can also use some direct color names. Like if you want to write your text with red color, then you can directly write font color equals to red. If you want to write with black color, then you can directly write font color equals to black. Got it? Now, let's do some programs now to understand the use of this font tag. Now, let's open the Notepad, and for opening Notepad we have a very simple shortcut in our computers. That is, we have to press Windows and R key. This will open the run prompt, and from this run prompt we can directly write Notepad to launch Notepad, and that's it. Let me show you how. So like I'm pressing this key, then we have to write this term Notepad, and that's it. You have to press the enter key and it will automatically open the Notepad window for you. Now, in this Notepad, we will write a very short program where I'll be using some text and I'll show you how we can apply various properties on this. So let's quickly erase this and now let's write a very short program. And let me do some modifications, like the font size is 28 right now. And let's change this font to a regular console type. And now let's type a very short program. So first we will begin the program with the opening HTML tag. Inside this, we will write the head tag, and then in the head tag we have to write the title tag. Well, for now I'm using a title as using font tag. You can pick any title as per your wish, but always keep one thing in your mind. Whatever titles you are picking, these titles have to be somewhat related to your programs. So now once you are done with the title, you have to close the title tag, and then you also have to close the head tag, and that's it. With this much of thing, you are done with the first section of HTML. Now after this much, we have to begin with the second section of HTML, and for that I'm using body tag right now, and that's it. Now so let's suppose inside this body tag we want to write a heading as well as some paragraphs. So what I will do, there's a cool website that is called as Lorem Ipsum or Lipsum, from where you can easily get some dummy text. So right now I'm copying some dummy text from here. So I have copied it and I'm going to paste it here in my page as a heading. So I'm writing h1, then we have pasted this heading, and then we have to close the h1. Now let's suppose you want to align this heading in the center of the page. For that you can use an align attribute with the h1 like this. You can simply write h1 align equals to center. And keep one thing in the mind, the spelling of center should be C-E-N-T-E-R. And that's it. Now we have written a heading. In the same manner, we will write a paragraph also. So I'm going to copy something from there, and then we will paste it, and we will write a paragraph also. So like this, I have copied a paragraph, and just let me copy it first. I have written the p tag. Now I'm copying a paragraph from here, like this. Then let's move back to our page, and here's it. So I'll paste it here, and then we have to close the p tag. And that's it. It's pretty simple, I think so. Now when you are done with this much, let's do one thing. Let's close the body tag. Let's close the HTML tag. Now we will save this question and check the output once before doing some other modifications. So now let's move to some important steps of saving the question. Well, when you have to save this program, you will use a very simple step. You will simply go to the file menu, from where you have to select the save option, and in the save option you have to write your file name with .html extension. Keep one thing in mind. If you will not use this .htm or .html extension, then you will not get any output in your web browser also. So if you want to check your programs properly with the proper output, then you must have to save your files with this extension, because these extensions will generally instruct your computer about the type of this file. Now let's save it and let's check the output. So first we are clicking on this file menu, and then we'll hit the save button. You can also press Ctrl and shortcut key, and then like I have created this folder here. Sorry, let me save this program here over this side. So I'm giving it a name as using font tag. Fine. And or we can also give it a name like class 2, because it's a second class in HTML, and then the extension, and then we have to make it to all files, and that's it. Now we have saved this program, so let's quickly open this folder, and here's the file. Open the file now. So here we have this file with this simple output. Now let's do some modifications here. As you guys are able to see, this text is appearing with a very small font size. Now let's suppose I want to increase the font size of this text. So for that, what I can do, I can simply open the Notepad, and then we can use this font tag here to increase the font size. So here it is. So just after this p tag in the new line, I'm using a font tag here inside the paragraph only, and I'm writing font size equals to, we can write any value, so we will start from 1, and I will show you the output still 7. So first I'm writing 1, and then we simply have to close it. So like this, you can simply save it and close it. So let me just minimize this window. Let's keep it aside so that we can see both of these things on the same page. Okay, so I have somehow aligned both of these things on the same page now. And let me shift this a bit over this side, and here's it. So right now I have saved this code. Let's reload the page, and you can see that now we are getting this page with even a bit smaller font size. Now let's change this value to 2. Save and reload. You can see that as we are increasing the values here, in the same manner the font values are also increasing. Now let's use the value as 3. So now we have got something, and it is somewhat related, like close to our normal font. Now let's use the value 4, and here is it. Now let's use the value 5, which will increase the font size in compared to the normal one, and here it is. Now let's use the font size 6, which I like most because it is somewhat equal to your heading level 1. Sorry, and have a look. And now let's use the font size 7, which is the biggest font size of HTML, and this is even bigger in compared to the heading also. And have a look. Now we have got a font size that is bigger in compared to our H1 also. So keep one thing in the mind. We always have to use this font size 7 when we want to show our text bigger in compared to the headings also. Fine. Rest we will only use font sizes from font size 1 to font size 5. So now let's simply move to this font size 5 and let's save it. And here it is. Now let's suppose I wanted to write this paragraph with let's say a different kind of font scheme. So let me just quickly pick a font scheme from here. So we will just simply go over this side, and let's suppose I wanted to write this paragraph with this Cooper font. So I'm copying it from here, and now I'm using an attribute called face attribute, and inside this we are using this Cooper attribute, the Cooper value of the face attribute. Fine. Now let's save it and reload the page. So you can see that by using this face attribute, we can change the style or the type of our text. Now, in the same manner, let's suppose you want to write your text with a definite color. Let's suppose you want to write your text with the color, let's say red. So you can simply write color equals to red, and let's reload the page. Now let's suppose when you were writing this page, suddenly you realize that you want to write a few terms with a different font size. Let's suppose I want to display this line, that is, it has survived not only 5th century. From this to this, suppose I want to write this much with the, let's say, green color. So I can use this font tag in the middle of this paragraph, like here I'm using font, then we can write color, and then suppose if I'm writing green, and if we just close it over this side like this, let's save it and let's reload the page. So you can see that by using this font tag with the color attribute in the middle of the paragraph, we can change the color in the middle of the paragraph, and remaining paragraph will get the parent properties only. In the same manner, let's suppose we want to increase the font size of this line by just 1 point. So for that we can write size equals to +1, and when you will do this, you simply have to reload the page, and you can see that now we have got the size in compared to a normal text by just 1 point. Fine. Similarly, if I will write size -1, then it will decrease the font size in compared to a normal text. Have a look. Okay, so always keep this in mind that the size attribute works in compared to the default text of HTML page. Now, let's suppose I want to write this with a different kind of font scheme. Let's say I want to write this with the Comic Sans. So we'll go to the format font option and I'll copy the font. So it is the font name. You have to simply copy the font name and you have to paste it over this side. You simply have to save the page and let's reload it. And you can see that now this line is appearing with the Comic Sans emphasis. And that's it. So it was all about the font tag. Now let's move further to our different elements of HTML. Now next in the HTML we have to discuss about these tags which are termed as physical markup tags and logical tags of HTML. Well, these physical markup tags are mostly used whenever we want to make some kind of physical changes in our program. For example, when you were writing something, all of a sudden you want to write something in the italics, or you want to change the thickness of your text, that is, you want to bold your text, or you want to underline something, or you want to strike out something, or let's suppose you want to draw a line or you want to leave a line. So for all these things we can use these physical markup tags in HTML programs. So now let's discuss these tags and then I will show you the practicals of these tags. The first tag in the list is called I tag. This I generally stands for italics, and this will simply put your text in this kind of italic format. It means you will get a slant text. Now next to this, our next tag is the B tag. This B tag is generally used to bold our text. It means it will simply increase the thickness of your text. Then next we have this U tag. This U stands for underline, and this will simply draw a line under your text. Now next to this we have a tag called S tag that stands for strike tag, or we can also use a strike tag here. This strike tag will simply strike out your text, and striking out means it will simply cut your text by using a line in the middle of text. Then next we have this BR tag. This BR tag stands for break rule. Okay, just remember this full form, that is break rule, and this break rule is generally used to leave a line, or it will help you to leave a blank space in between your multiple lines, paragraphs or objects. Then next we have this HR tag. This HR tag is generally used to draw a separator in between our objects. So it will simply draw a line that will be a shaded line by default. This line will be shaded by default, and this will appear with gray plus white color. Then next we have this TT tag. This TT tag generally stands for teletype text. This TT tag generally stands for teletype text, or it is also termed as typewriter text. In this you will get your text something like this. Then next we have this font tag which we have already discussed. Then next we have this SUP and SUB tag. Well, these SUP and SUB tags are the most important tags here, where this SUP tag will help you to write something in the power notation like this x square, and then this SUB tag will help you to put your text in the base like we have this 2 in the H2O. Then next we have the center tag. The center tag is the only alignment tag in HTML, and this tag will help you to align your text in the center of the page. Then next to this we have this pre tag. This pre stands for pre-formatted text. This pre stands for pre-formatted text, and it is generally used whenever we want to include all the properties from our notepad as it is, which means it will include all the extra spaces, all the font properties, and everything from the notepad as it is. So now let's do one thing. Let's apply some of these tags in our program and let's see what changes we are getting. So here we are back with our program and this program window on the right side. So now let's decrease the font size a bit first because I think it's too much big. And now let's do some modifications here. Let's suppose when you were writing this heading, all of a sudden you just want to write this heading with an underline. So for that we can use a U tag over here like this. I think this must be annoying you guys, so we can just simply shift it over this side and let's open this and this like here. Okay, fine. Now, so we have opened the U tag over this side, that's for underline, and then we can close the U tag or underline tag over this side. And let's save it and reload the page here, and you can see that we got our underline in our heading. In the similar manner, let's suppose we want to italicize this heading, so we can use the I tag here like this, and then you have to simply close it over this side like this, and that's it. Let's reload the page, and you can see that now we are getting this heading with the italicized. Now let's suppose you want to write your whole page in the Times New Roman, so I'm writing Times New Roman. Let's save it and reload the page, and we got this in the Times New Roman now. And let's suppose you also want to bold this whole thing, so you can use the B tag before and after this like I am using. And that's it, the text is appearing with the bold now. Now let's suppose along with this bold you also want to strike out this green color line. Let's suppose you want to cut this green color line, so for that we can use a S tag before this line like this, and then you simply have to close the S tag at the end like this. Let's save it and reload it, and you can see that now we are getting that deleted text structure also. Now let's suppose we have these two similar paragraphs on our page. Let's suppose we have these two, like we have two similar paragraphs on our page, so I'm just copying it and pasting it for the second paragraph. Fine. Now as you guys can see that here we are getting some space in between these two paragraphs. Let's suppose you want to increase the number of lines in between them. So for that we have a tag in HTML that is called as BR tag that we can put here. First let me align this thing over this side. Now we will use a BR tag here, and you will notice that the moment when I will use the BR tag, it will simply increase the spaces in between these two. Have a look. Well, this BR tag will simply help you to leave the line. So wherever you will just simply place this BR tag, it will put your text from there to the next line. For example, right now I'm placing the BR tag over this side. So what it will do simply, it will simply change the line from this point. So let's save it and let's reload it, and you can see that just after this term industries, all of the text is appearing from the new line now. Well, in the same manner we can do some other modifications also. Let me show you how. Let's suppose instead of using a BR, we want to draw a line over this side, and for that we can use the HR tag. So like this, and reload, and you can see that now we are getting a line. If I will simply zoom in the page and show you, then you can notice that we are getting a thick line. Just the most important thing is here. Okay, so we have zoomed this page just because I want to show you this little thing. If you are able to notice, then you can see that basically this is a shaded line. By default this line is shaded and it appears in combination of gray and white color. Now let's suppose you don't want this kind of shaded effect. So for that we have two options that we can do. First, we can use an attribute that is called no shade like this, and it is the only attribute in HTML which doesn't carry any value. Fine, this no shade is the only attribute in HTML which doesn't carry any value. So you can simply use this attribute here, and then you can see that, okay, here it is. You can see that now we are getting a solid line that is neither shaded, and it also doesn't carry this gray and white color effect. Or if in case you don't want to use this, then we can use the color attribute here with a value that will be color equals to any value you can pass. For example, I'm writing black, and that's it. You can see that. Now we are about to get a black colored line. Let me just scroll. Oh, you can see. Fine. So like this, by using this tag, we can easily change the color of this line also. Now let's move further. So it was about some tags. In the same manner, we have some other tags also. Let me show you all the tags now. Let's move to the 100%, and that's it. Okay, now let's suppose instead of writing the second paragraph, you want to write something mathematical. Let's suppose you want to write something mathematical. Let's suppose we want to write a term a square plus b square. Then for writing that term a square plus b square, we have to use some powers here. And these 2's have to be in powers. So what we will do, before this 2 we have to open a tag called sup, and just after this 2 we will close the same tag, and that's it. This piece of code will generally help you to mark this segment as a exponent segment. And now we have to simply apply the same effect over this side. So what we will do, we will simply open this sup tag over this side, and then we have to close the same over this side. And that's it. Let's save it and reload the page. And you can see that now we are getting this mathematical notation over this side. Let me just increase the font size, or I hope that it's visible to you all. Okay, now let's suppose in the same manner you want to write something that is related to chemistry. Let's suppose you want to write the chemical formula of water or something else. Then for that, what we will do, I'll show you just in a minute. Okay. Okay, so what we will do, let's suppose we want to write H2O, where this 2 is a base value. So for writing this 2 in the base, what we will do, we will use a tag called sub tag, and then we have to close this sub tag just after the 2, like this. Then you have to save the page, and you have to reload your program. And now you can see that in the output we have got these two values, one with the exponent notation, other with the power notation. So you can get these things by using sup and sup tag of HTML. So now, right now we have discussed a few elements. Now let's apply some more elements. Let's suppose you want to put some text in a special kind of text format that is termed as teletype text. So what we will use a TT tag here, like I'm using the TT tag in the heading, and then you have to close the TT tag in the correct position. And now have a look. Now this heading is appearing as a typewriter text format or as a teletype text format. So this TT tag will generally help you to write your text in a TT format, that is a teletype text format. Okay. So it was just about few tags of HTML. Now let's move further and discuss the remaining elements. So just now we have discussed some of the most common elements here. Now next to this we have some other tags which are termed as logical markup tags in HTML. Well, these logical markup tags are some kind of tags which are similar to our physical markup tags, but they have a bit different layout or structure. And many of these tags will not affect anything in your output, but they will just simply represent a code block. So that is the main reason why we will not discuss any of these practically now. So the first tag is this EM tag. This EM tag is similar to the italic tag, and it will simply put your text in the italic format. Similarly, for the bold, we have an alternative that is called as strong tag, and this strong tag will simply increase the thickness of your text. Then next we have the skew tag. Well, the skew tag generally stands for quotes, and whenever you will use the skew tag before and after your text, that piece of text will appear in the quotation marks. Then next we have this block quote text. Well, this block quote text will simply help you to write your text in a big quotation mark kind of thing that will be highlighted also. Then next we have this del or insert tag, and where this del tag is similar to your strike tag, and this insert tag is similar to your underline tag. So this del tag will simply show your text in the deleted format, that is with the strikeout, whereas the insert tag or ins tag will show your text with the underline like this. Now next we have the code tag. Well, the code tag, city tag, acronym tag and address tag, these are some container tags which will only carry your value and they will not show any changes in the output part. That is, the code tag is generally used to carry some kind of mathematical or logical code, whereas the city tag is generally used to carry the address, and the same is the use of this address tag also. Then, or by using the cites tag, we can also just give a simple short citation about your about our content. Then we have this acronym or abbreviation tab, which is generally used for explaining the abbreviations or some terms. So it was all about some logical tags and some physical tags of HTML. So today in this class we have learned three things. We have discussed about these logical tags, these physical tags and the font tag in HTML. So with this we end this class here. I hope you guys enjoyed this class. If you like the video, then you can just simply hit the like button. Also subscribe our channel if you haven't subscribed yet. And in the coming class we will cover the remaining part of the text tags of HTML. So for that you have to be stay tuned and don't forget to hit the bell icon and hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed our channel yet. You can also contact us on our website, or you can also send us emails on this, and you can also join us on Facebook with the same name. So till the next class, let's sign off now.